Hi, welcome to our third episode of Moving Your Family Forward. If you haven't had a chance to watch the previous two, I would encourage you to check those out. But the core idea in all of this is we want to give you some ideas and some help during this lockdown time where families are a little bit in different circumstances. And sometimes those different circumstances create a little bit more stress and a little bit more tension. And so we want to help you. So the first one was just some general ideas for your family. The second one we talked about specifically about your marriage. And today we're going to talk about being parents and how do you parent when you're used to sending your kids to school but they're at home, when you're working from home instead of at the office, and everything has changed. For some of you, that has been a great experience. You're just loving it. Your kids love it. You love it. For the other 99% of us, that's causing some stress and some strain. And so we want to give you some practical ideas. I brought a friend who's going to share some here in just a moment about how to smooth out this transition and how to move through it and actually move forward instead of just surviving it. And so I'm going to give you my 2 cents first because you're going to like what Samantha has to say better than what I tell you. But I would give you one very simple recommendation, and that is adjust your expectations. Just understand your kids are used to structure. They're used to getting up and sitting in a classroom and going to recess and all those normal things. And I know that you know this. But sometimes when we're just trying to make things work and get things to work out today, we forget that they are used to those things. And because they don't have them, we need to change the way our expectations are setting them up and setting ourselves up sometimes for failure. They're not going to be able to be the same kid and do the same thing because everything around them has changed. And so sometimes it's just a matter of adjusting your expectations to the current reality. And so that's going to look different for everybody. I understand that. But I would encourage you, just kind of ask yourself the question, am I expecting too much in this situation? Do I need to adjust a little bit? And maybe, depending on the age of your child, have a conversation with them about what it looks like day to day and how to make each day a good day instead of just a get through it kind of a day. All right, so that's my input. I'm going to ask Samantha to introduce herself and share a little bit about what she does.
Hi everyone, my name is Samantha Graham and I am a licensed professional counselor. I am in private practice right now at Gold Compass Counseling, and I work with kids starting at 6 all the way up through adults, and I love working with parents and really parents who are helping their kids through emotional situations.
Well, I love that. So we've got an expert. What is your number one recommendation for this situation and families right now? What would you say is the best thing they could do to get started?
You know, the first thing that I want to focus on is connection.
Okay.
So really when we look at all of our to-do lists right now, they're, like you said, unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
So if we focus on connection, then we really are giving our kids the chance to not only be able to regulate their emotions, but also build upon those.
Yeah.
So the schoolwork will come.
Right. So if they feel like you're connected with them, it kind of lowers their tension and stress level a little bit, which probably improves behavior and
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Well, just kind of some real practical things. If I have a child that struggles with attention span, which a lot of kids do, what are some practical things I can do? What do I need to be thinking about to manage that situation?
Right, absolutely, and especially for our younger kids or kids who just naturally have a smaller attention span, shorter attention span, I'd say take a lot of breaks, take a lot of brain breaks. Really, the research has shown that jumping is especially good for resetting the brain.
Really?
So, you know, if you have a trampoline, if you would want to do jumping jacks, even the YouTube Just Dance videos are great.
Get them moving a little bit.
Absolutely.
Okay, no,
absolutely.
that makes a lot of sense. Well, a lot of our parents maybe have kids that have special needs or other issues. And in many cases, they're used to having a lot of support. Now, they obviously are the parent and they're taking care of their child. They know their child's needs better than anybody else. But they've been used to maybe having a guide at school and some extra help at school. How would you encourage them? What would you coach them to do considering how everything has changed?
Yeah, absolutely. It's such a tough time for kids who are getting a lot of services because now a lot of those services might still be offered, but they're very different, and they might not be making the same progress. So I would just encourage parents to talk to their team. Most of these kiddos that have a team of professionals around them can give you some helpful hints on, first of all, what to do at home, but also what kind of goals you can set for your child, because a lot of children who have some of those special needs, they're not going to be making tremendous progress during this time, and we can't really expect them to. So if you can talk to their team and really find out what should be my goal for them when it comes to, let's say it's a speech issue, what should be their goal for speech? Is it just to kind of retain some of that or to practice? Or are we expected to make progress at this time?
Well, that makes sense. I think for some families, and maybe this is your family, maybe it's not, there's maybe even some questions now coming up. Is this just a rough patch, or are we starting to see some things that we're kind of more concerned about, and maybe do we need counseling, do we not need counseling? How can you help moms and dads kind of navigate that a little bit? What should they be thinking about if they're wondering about those kinds of issues?
So the first thing I would say is you are not alone. Really, everyone that I've spoken to is having some difficulty with anxiety, with depression, with behavior, things like that. So, first things first, kind of take that step back and realize you're not alone in this. But also, kind of if you feel like you are stuck and you can't get unstuck. That's kind of the best way for me to describe it. So if it feels like you're stuck in that anxiety, stuck in that behavior, depression, it's a great time to reach out for counseling. And I probably am a little bit biased, but I err on the side of always reaching out and just seeing what kind of goals can a counselor help you what kind of goals can a counselor help you reach?
And we'll definitely include some resources at the bottom of the video, links for people. Are there any specific ones, whether it's for attention things or special needs kids or even just kind of counseling? Obviously, you're a counselor. I'm sure you'd be a great resource. Are there other resources that you feel like would be worth mentioning that moms and dads may want to check out?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a few specifically that I'm going to include. I do have some free printables on my website that I think might be really helpful to some parents out there. But I also really encourage you, if you're looking for a counselor, to check out the website Psychology Today. Psychology Today not only allows you to kind of search for counselors in your area, but it allows you to get really specific. If you want a Christian counselor, you have the ability to narrow down your search by male or female Christian counselor, what kind of areas of expertise they have.
And I would just kind of put a little addendum on that. As a church, in the past, if finances have been an issue, we've been quick and ready to assist families. And so if you are kind of exploring that and you feel like, boy, I don't know if we can afford it, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and let us know, because if a counselor is the best pathway forward for your family, we don't want finances to stand in the way of that. We have partners and great professionals like Samantha that we can work with, and we've also got funds set aside just for those kinds of reasons. And so if that is a concern of yours, please don't let the financial piece be a roadblock if that could potentially be an issue. Now we had a chance to talk just before we started filming, and so if you may or may not know, Samantha's a mom, and she's a wife. She's working from home. Her husband's working from home. Her kids are at home. She's doing school at home, just like a lot of you are. And I apologize, there's a little bit of a curveball. We didn't talk about this too much before, but there's lots of boredom and frustration and tension for everybody involved. What's been best for you? How have you managed it personally? What has helped you the most?
Honestly, giving myself grace has been the biggest thing. Understanding that I am just one person and I need to manage my own expectations for myself. And sometimes that means taking a mommy time out and taking a few deep breaths, or really kind of looking at what needs to change in my self-care routine. A lot of my self-care before involved long walks through Target and all of that fun stuff that I just can't do now.
Right.
So looking at what can I be doing that helps me feel rejuvenated and ready to tackle the next day.
I love that. And that's actually, we talked about that in episode 2, even between couples, that you need to eat right, you need to have some kind of exercise, you need to get enough sleep. Those are going to be huge in helping you manage all of these kind of situations. So just kind of as we wrap up, any final thoughts, anything that you'd kind of want to leave us with for families that you feel like maybe would be helpful?
Yeah, I think what you had said to begin with, those adjusting your expectations, making sure that really the emotional health of your family takes priority, because that's what's going to be left at the end of this.
Right.
Teachers are going to have a fun time figuring out how to catch kids up
Right.
next school year.
Yeah.
But if our kids are so stressed out and not connected to us, then it's going to be even tougher to build some of those foundational things.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for taking the time. Like I said, you're a mom and a wife and doing school and doing work and everything else. So thank you so much for sharing with us and sharing your expertise a little bit. I hope you found this helpful. Like I said, we will link to resources in the notes, so feel free to take advantage of that. And again, if there's anything we can do for you or ways we can help you as a church, if you'd like to get in contact with Samantha, feel free. You can direct message us. You can email us. We would be glad to try to help you get in touch with the resources you need to move your family forward. Thanks for watching, and hope you'll tune in for the next one. Episode 4 be coming shortly on finances. Thank you so much.